I love talking with this new generation. I love their openness, their creativity, and their energy. And my guest today personifies this perfectly. She's an ideal person to communicate to people of her generation. In her quest for the right direction, she learns, she gets inspired, and now she's even teaching us a thing or two. And she works really hard. Moving forward with every project she takes on, the experience and knowledge accumulate, which widen her scope and sciences. There will be lots more coming. And let us get to know my guest today and ask 10 questions to my extraordinary guest, Laura Nassar. Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me today. I know you're here for a short time and you made some time for me, so I'm really happy about that.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So before starting the questions, tell me just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name's Laura. My mom is Dutch, my dad is Lebanese, but I grew up in Lebanon my entire life.
Okay.
I was born in the States, but I don't really have any connection with the States as I moved here when I was 2 weeks old. And I went to Brumana High School and then did a year at AUB. Okay. And then when the country, you know, the chaos, I moved to London and did my undergraduate at Queen Mary in biology. And then applied to Cambridge for my master's.
And got accepted?
And got accepted, and I'm there now.
Master's in?
It's called an MPhil in pharmacology, which stands Master of Philosophy in Pharmacology.
Meaning, Master of Philosophy in Pharmacology?
Yeah, so basically what that means.
A thing. Right.
PhD is Doctor of Philosophy.
Right.
This is Master of Philosophy. So Masters, there's many different versions you can get. This is the highest level, if I'm not mistaken, which basically means I don't have any classes. There are no lectures. It's just entirely research-based.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it's completely self-independent learning.
Oh, interesting. Wow. And you're up to the task, I guess.
Oh. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but yeah.
So how did you get into the field of biology, and then how did you decide on pharmacology?
So at first in high school, I actually was more interested in film and English literature, which is a completely different world.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually it was my biology high school teacher that completely changed the direction of my life.
Okay.
She was just so unique in the way that she teaches. And it really resonated with me, and she was really passionate about her subject, and I guess that passion is contagious. And
she inspired you.
I caught it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great that you got to have this kind of teacher too.
Yeah, I think about it all the time, how if I had a different teacher, I might not have ended up where I am now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So is there anybody in the fields of biology or pharmacology that have inspired you, maybe from the past or the present?
I think definitely my high school biology teacher definitely fits in there, because I don't think I would be interested in biology if it wasn't for her.
Okay.
Also, I would say my undergraduate dissertation supervisor.
Really?
So during my undergraduate, we have this project. It's a research project. It's just about a few months where you do your own research and you're allocated a supervisor. Yeah. And my supervisor was so attentive, so always there for me, answering all my questions, supervising every single move that I made in the lab. And he was also very passionate about his subject. And and
so a real mentor.
Real mentor, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's so nice to hear a real person. Like, everybody is real, but I mean a person you had contact with that inspired you.
Yeah. And he really cared as well. Yeah.
Okay, I guess he saw something in you too, so he helped push you in the field. What is something wild that people don't know about biology? You have some interesting tips on your account.
Yeah, I thought it would be interesting, the Curious Connections series. I thought it would be interesting to connect fields that people think are completely unrelated, or things that are unrelated.
Yeah. Like the example of the bugs and the murder.
Yeah.
The corpses.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell us about that now?
So I guess it's just crazy that the life cycle of a bug can tell you so much about criminology.
Wow.
Something that is so completely, like, you would think,
different.
okay, this is, I'm studying insects.
Right.
But if you study insects, you can have a very big role in criminology, because if you truly understand how long does it take for you to go from this stage to that stage, and then you understand, okay, if this is the temperature, this is how fast it would go through the stages. So then you can know, how long has the body been there? What's this person's alibi?
Yeah.
So they weren't there during the crime, so it can't have been them. And
That's just amazing. So like there's a specialty for everybody and everybody can impact society in their specialty.
But I also want to add something. I just thought of something wild about biology.
Yeah, tell us.
Which is DNA.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's super crazy.
It's actually crazy because if you think about it, its potential impact on technology, that's what is so wild.
Oh, really? How does it impact technology?
So I think it already might, people are already researching into it, but I think in the future it's definitely going to be a big part of things that we use, technology that we use, because 1 gram of DNA, if I'm not mistaken, is about 200 million gigabytes.
Wow.
1 gram.
Wow.
So it stores so much information, and DNA is also incredibly stable.
Okay.
So imagine just in one small tiny, it's just crazy.
You mean like it can help us health-wise, for example?
It can help health-wise. It can help with basically anything technological that needs to store information. You can store an unimaginable amount of information in DNA.
Wow. You can put it in there yourself?
So basically what DNA is, we think of them as letters.
Right.
So A, C, T, G.
Right.
And these letters are codes for different things. So technically they code for proteins. But you can make any pattern of these letters to encode any information. It can be anything.
So we can like interfere a little bit.
You can yeah, it's crazy.
I have a tough question for you. I asked you if I can ask you this before the episode. So when you're reading about DNA, how much all the creatures resemble each other. For example, us and chimps, I think like resemble each other about 99.5% or something.
Bananas
like this.
as well. We're very, very similar to bananas.
Bananas?
Yeah.
Oh, is that why chimps like bananas so much? I guess. But I was wondering, this question popped in my head. How does consciousness link to DNA? I mean, because this is what makes us a little bit different than animals, you know?
Yeah. So I don't think anyone actually has an answer to this question.
Yeah.
It's something that people are still trying to discover. And I believe in the past, they used to call it the vital source or something like that, which is a part of living things that no one can explain.
Right.
And I think it's what nowadays people would refer to as the soul.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So as for the scientific basis, I don't believe anyone truly knows what consciousness even is, how to define it.
They can't put in an equation.
Yeah, or where it even comes from. No one knows. Like when you die, what is lost? Everything is still there, but there's something that isn't there anymore, and no one really understands what that is, and that's consciousness.
Yeah, that's why I think it's fascinating when we resemble animals so much. That's what
came
off the top of my head. So you see the future of biology and pharmacology, how? Technology is moving so fast. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I think that it's going to be exponential.
Right.
The shift is going to be exponential because now I just recently posted a video explaining this machine that can quantify DNA. It just does it in 2 seconds with the tiniest amount. It can tell you how much DNA is in there.
And that's like 60 years ago that they were able to decipher the DNA, right?
Yeah. And it's just crazy how one machine can do something so quickly. And we've already discovered that. Imagine what we're going to discover.
Yeah.
The machinery it's probably going to be able to do entire experiments on its own.
Is there a part of you that's afraid?
Honestly, not really, because
you're in the scientific community, right? You can live it and breathe it and everything. But us as outsiders, sometimes things are worrisome. But you're right in there. So how is your feel about it?
I think that you can't really do science without critical thinking or creativity. You need to understand how to find the gaps. You need to design the experiments, understand what you're going to do, which I don't believe a machine can do as well.
Okay.
And I don't think it will get to that point.
Right. That's reassuring.
Soon. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is reassuring because this is a huge debate right now about AI and everything. We don't know what's going to happen. So you spend such long hours and long days in the lab. How do you stay motivated? It's not easy. And how do you stay focused? Also, that's not easy because these days we're so distracted by the screens and what's going on and the news and everything. So how can you stay motivated and focused so well?
So for motivation, I would say I do it preemptively, which I learned the hard way.
Right.
So when I first started this master's, I was working so hard. I was overworking to the point that I got burnt out.
Oh, okay.
And it got to a point where I go to the lab, I do one thing that not a lot of, like, it doesn't really take much out of me, but I feel so drained by the end, even though it's just one tiny thing, and that's because I burnt myself out.
Did they expect that from you?
I didn't expect that at all.
Okay.
I didn't expect that to happen. I thought I could maintain that, but I learned that I need to pace myself, take a break when I feel I need to, and even when I feel I don't. If it's time for a break, it's time for a break.
Okay.
And not overwork. Like, I try not to overwork, and that has recently maintained my motivation.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah. And you're able to keep up to date while because you hear that students are overworked and they study so much at the same time. So you're still able to keep up to date and everything.
Yeah.
With a nice rhythm
just
and
with
balance.
proper time management as well.
Time management, organization.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as for the focused part, how to stay focused. I'm trying to think of what I guess the most important thing is splitting things up into tiny manageable pieces. And this might be debatable, but
small goals.
Yeah, if you have a big project in front of you, split it up into pieces.
Right.
And arguably the smaller the better. And there's actually science behind why that works. So if you first of all, if you have a small section of a project that you're focusing on, it's smaller, it's much easier to focus on.
Right.
That's number one.
To handle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And number two, your brain, when you complete that small section and you can tick it, and you feel I've achieved something, I've completed something, your brain naturally releases endorphins, dopamine, things that make you feel satisfaction. So naturally you're more motivated to do the next section.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a lot better to cut things up rather than tackle it all at once.
That should be applied to life also.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. So talk to me like lab for dummies. Okay. So what's the difference between lab work for biology, lab work for pharmacology?
I think it's actually pretty similar. Biology, technically pharmacology is biology. It's just biology is like a broad umbrella.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And pharmacology falls under that.
Right.
But I think pharmacology is more specifically focused on drug discovery or understanding drug interactions or anything related to medication and drugs.
Yeah. Tell us about what you're working on now. Oh, sorry. Did you want
No,
that's
okay.
I get excited. Yeah. Tell us about what you're working on now.
So I'm actually not allowed to talk about specifics.
Okay.
But I'll tell you in general what our lab works on. So the cell has a membrane, and within that membrane there are these proteins which are called transporters.
Okay.
And this is literally how they work. They sit like this, and then something can enter the protein, and it goes like this, and whatever that is goes out.
Okay.
And these transporters have led to antibiotic resistance. So the antibiotic enters the bacteria.
Right.
And then this transporter can take up the antibiotic and pump it out.
Oh, so they know how to defend themselves right now.
Exactly, with those transporters. So the focus of our lab is those specific transporters and trying to figure out either how to inhibit them or properly understand how they work, so in the future we can figure out how to stop this from happening.
Well, there has been an misuse of antibiotics, which led to this, obviously, to your research.
And also what I think is really interesting is these transporters are very similar to transporters that we have in our cells, human cells, which lead to chemotherapy resistance. So there's actually quite a big overlap in research.
Really? With chemotherapy and
chemotherapy and antibiotic resistance have a big overlap. It's quite interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah. Chemotherapy was part of one of your internships.
It was in my undergraduate dissertation.
And you did a presentation?
Yeah.
And won?
Yeah, no, that was, so basically, when I first moved to Cambridge, I saw that there was the annual oncology conference, and I applied. I sent my abstract, thinking I probably won't even get in because it's not Cambridge-based research.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They accepted it, and they accepted me as a speaker.
Oh, as a speaker.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I presented, and I won, and it was really exciting.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
I guess there's going to be a lot more coming.
Hopefully.
So what you did internships also in the field of dermatology and neurosurgery. Which one impacted you the most, or
which one impacted me the most,
or which one you like the most? So very simply, I guess the one you like the most will impact you the most. No?
Yeah. Well, I guess there's even an internship that I did when I was still in high school.
Oh yeah.
Which actually wasn't related to the sciences.
Okay, but it did impact you.
It was a National Geographic expedition in Iceland, and it was focused on documentaries and climate change, which
Wow.
was really interesting.
Okay.
And I think it was the first time I ever traveled alone, so I think it had the biggest impact on me.
Right.
But if you're asking specifically about the sciences, I would say the medical internship that I did, where I was shadowing surgeons.
Yeah. And you were observing surgeries.
Yeah, it was really amazing.
Yeah, it didn't make you feel nauseous or anything? the
I was
first time?
worried that it might, and I thought then I might need to reconsider what I want to do.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, it didn't.
It
So
was
that
okay.
Yeah, it was
Impressive,
okay.
eh?
It was the opposite. I was so fascinated by what I
Really?
was seeing,
Okay.
asking questions. Although there was a language barrier, but
Yeah.
most of them spoke French as well, so that was
Okay. Do you speak
manageable for me.
French?
Yeah,
Okay.
I get by.
I want to change a little bit the subject now to well-being, because for your generation, sometimes you go through stressful and anxious periods, a little bit different than your parents, like my age. How do you deal with these stressful? Like we have different responsibilities and everything,
Yeah.
right? So we have to deal with stuff differently. How about you, for your generation? How do you deal with stress and anxiousness or anxiety?
I guess what I would say for me that has worked is exercise.
Oh yeah,
Because people, I
same
think,
with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's similar for most people.
Yeah.
People underestimate the power of exercise. And it's not that, oh, I'm stressed, let me quickly go to the gym. That's not how it works. It needs to be regular routine. It needs to be
Okay.
part of your life. And
Okay.
it has been shown that regular exercise reduces cortisol, which is the stress hormone.
Right.
And cortisol is a nightmare, as you probably know.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it's...
So that's how you deal the most.
And I would also say breathing exercises.
Yeah. Breathing is the pillar to everything.
And I
we
only
do.
learned this recently,
Well,
which is...
that's really good because I just learned this like a couple of years ago. So
I feel like more people should know about this.
Isn't it true?
Yeah.
You think it's pretty obvious, but not really.
I thought it was pseudoscience. I didn't know that it was real. And that's what I think is good, is that you can use that immediately. If you're having a pang of anxiety or you're overwhelmed, you just immediately do
You
some
can calm yourself
Yeah.
down with the breathing.
And the fact that it is really backed scientifically.
Yeah. And it doesn't, like, people might have kind of like, oh, this is kooky meditation.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not like that.
It's not.
It's not like we have to be
It's actually
transported into
proven
another
that
world.
breathing exercise activates something called your parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest,
Right.
compared to fight or flight.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And you're literally biologically calming yourself down. And I also saw that the best type of breathing exercise is the one that you exhale more than you inhale.
Oh, really?
Because in that way, you're convincing your body, basically tricking your body, you don't need oxygen right now, you're safe, everything's fine.
Oh, I would have taken it as letting things out.
Yeah, I guess that works too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So these, you actually learned some kind of tips from your
Yeah.
biology
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your health and everything
Yeah.
too. That's awesome. What is your hope for the field of biology in the future?
I guess I would say I hope that the world is more engaged
I like
with
that.
science. And
Yeah.
also, it has historically there have been fewer women in all of these STEM fields, including biology. It's getting better, but I would like to see even more, like, to get rid of that disparity.
Right.
And also to engage the public with science, because I think that that's one thing that's severely missing.
That's what you're doing with your account,
Yeah.
the lab rat.
Yeah.
And you call yourself a lab rat.
Yeah.
You're comfortable with calling yourself
Yeah.
a lab rat. So it's very informative. So if people, I'll put in the link now in the description. So if people want to reach out to you, they can also reach out to you, right, on Instagram.
Yeah.
I have a surprise for you.
What
A
is it?
little something. Just a sec, though. I have to get it out here. All right. Ready? Okay. I'll just put up the volume.
Is one of those students that you cannot forget. From an academic perspective,
Oh my
she was truly
God! That's Miss
remarkable.
Laura!
Serious and meticulous, she grew academically to surprise me and herself at how much she
That is
achieved
so
in high
sweet.
school.
I'll send it to you.
What stood out most for me is her constant desire to improve, often seeking advice from more knowledgeable people. Now at uni, she shines even more. A star student, Laura is a beautiful soul. Her compassion, kindness, and humility are phenomenal. Everyone wants to be her friend. I send her my warmest regards, big hugs, and tell her that she has left an indelible mark on me.
That is so sweet. That actually made my entire month, my entire year.
I'm really happy for that.
Oh my
because,
God, I haven't spoken to her in a while also. So.
Yeah, I'll let her know. I'll send a message to her if you want. And I'm sure if you guys want, you guys can get together and catch up and everything.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd surprise you with
so
that.
nice.
Yeah, you told me about her and it seems like we have
Yeah.
connections. So we were able to reach out to her. So for our last question, what makes the ordinary extraordinary? Go ahead, take your time. I'll drink some water too.
What makes the ordinary extraordinary?
Yeah.
Is the realization that there's no difference. That's what I think.
No difference.
There's no difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary.
Oh, okay.
I think everything ordinary is extraordinary if you look at it properly. So, for example,
Giving meaning to something.
Yeah, I walk the same path to the lab every single day.
Right.
Someone might think that's ordinary.
Yeah.
But then look up, see the leaves, the way the light is passing through the leaves. That's never going to be that way ever again.
Right.
That pattern of clouds and the way that the sun is hitting the clouds, that's never going to happen again.
To the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, give meaning to the moment.
Yeah. Everything is extraordinary if you look at it in the right way, I think.
Yeah. So make your moment extraordinary.
Yeah.
Thank you, Laura, so
Thank
much.
you so much.
I really enjoyed this.
Me
I hope
too.
you did too.
Yeah, I really did.
And I hope we'll have you back for some more updates and everything later on.
Definitely.
Enjoy your stay and we're looking forward
Thank
to hearing
you.
more of your news. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you.